Presenting sponsor of this year's event is Ocala Grand Prix, a full-service kart racing facility and nationally recognised racing venue, only a short drive from Orlando. OGP offers racing kart sales and service, as well as corporate events, driving school and trackside support team. As a dealer for Tony Kart, CRG, Rotax and Mojo, OGP can help any racer, new or experienced. OcalaGrandPrix.com. Owned by former Indianapolis 500 winner Buddy Rice, Tony Kart West is an official importer for the world champion Tony Kart chassis and OTK accessories, servicing dealers across the western United States. Tony Kart West also offers an in-house racing team, providing trackside support and prep services at karting events throughout the country. TonyKartWest.com. And we are racing in the final, and this is Dalton Sargent coming round to turn one. Oh, and second and third have gone off. So AJ Myers goes out, and I think possibly Oliver Askew, certainly Oliver Askew or Jake Craig will have gone, and AJ Myers goes out at the first turn. Well, that's real hard to take. That's what happens in racing. That's what can happen. That is what has happened. Jake Craig, I think, is up there in second place, but a real set of commiserations to those guys who had that contact on turn one. That's racing, that happens. But if I'm reading it correctly, Dalton Sargent continuing to hold this narrow advantage as we come on to the home straight. Okay, let's get confirmation from the timing screen of who those guys are that went out. It was Dalton Sargent leading from Jake Craig and Brennan Harrington. Yeah, it is. It's Oliver Askew and AJ Myers. The call was accurate. AJ Myers and Oliver Askew were the guys that went out at turn one on lap one of the final. Well, Mum, up there in Northern Europe, in Sweden, I'm sorry with that news, but your boy is perfectly okay, perfectly uninjured, but right now he's running last. So Oliver Askew is 34th and AJ Myers is 33rd. Ethan Lowe is 32nd. Three really good drivers in the last three positions now. But on a more positive note, three pretty good drivers in the first three positions, led by Dalton Sargent, a Floridian. That is Dalton Sargent, who you see leading from Jake Craig. The margin was half a second, even looks a fraction more, doesn't it? Jake Craig in second place, coming into shot. Third place, Bren Harrington. Bren Harrington being pursued by Logan Bairden. That third-fourth race, that third-fourth dice might be the interesting one for us to try and focus on as the middle of the field comes safely through. Just having a look downfield, Dor Chaponic down in 19th place. So hard work for him to do from there. Parker McKean gave me a wave as he went on the circuit. 11th. Hey, Jordan Perry in 10th place. And why am I getting excited? Jordan Perry had to negotiate last night's LCQ, and he's done a 59.9, which is bettered only by 59.8 of Dalton Sargent. So the kid who had to negotiate the last chance race yesterday night is in the top 10 with just 3 laps gone. Jordan Perry running 9th. Colin Daly Jr., who's had a bad time by his high standards, in the top 10 at number 10. But better than all of those, out in front by 3/4 of a second, give or take, Dalton Sargent, pursued by Jake Craig and Brennan Harrington. Logan Bairden running 4th and Gavin Reichelt running 5th. Oliver Askew up from 34th to 30th. Oliver Askew climbing places some. He's going to feel aggrieved because, well, I'm not wanting to apportion blame in any way, but I have to say he did look the totally innocent party. Hard to say, who knows. Coming towards the end of lap 4. And Kart 80, Dalton Sargent has a lead of 9/10 of a second over Jake Craig and Brennan Harrington. The scrap downfield, that's Jordan Perry that you can see in 8th place. Follow that green helmet. This is the kid who last night, less than 20, well, yeah, just about 24, 25 hours ago, 26 hours ago, was setting off in an LCQ. He wasn't even at the front of that, but he did win it. Came through the pre-final this morning, starting on the 3rd last row. This is the final, and the kid with the green helmet in shot now is Jordan Perry, tracking Michael Ilavia in 7th place. In front of Michael Ilavia in 6th place, that's Gavin Reichelt. So, tremendous effort from young Jordan Perry. In front of that group is the 5th place Sebastian Coulson. Sebastian Coulson in 5th place. Logan Bairden, incidentally, having passed Brennan Harrington for 3rd place. But Jordan Perry, we're majoring on him at the moment, not because we're favouring anybody, we're just saying here is a guy who last night could have said, hey, shucks, I'm in the LCQ, so what if I do qualify? I'm going to be miles behind. Where does that put me? Well, if you get your head down and race, it could put you in 8th place at the 1/4 race distance in the final. And with 15 laps remaining, anything but anything can happen. Dalton Sargent continues to lead from Jake Craig and Logan Bairden. Jordan Perry finding forward progress a little bit harder, now is in the top 10. It's not that he's not good enough, it's just that the guys in front of him are that much better than the guys further downfield. Just having a look where Jordan started. He started in 15th place, and has gone up to 8th. Colin Daly Jr. still hanging on to his 10th place, the Red Bull supported driver. Well, Jordan Perry can pick these guys off one at a time, but when you're in a train of half a dozen, it's not so easy. In front of him, you're seeing Gavin Reichelt 5th, Sebastian Coulson 6th, Michael Ilavia 7th, Jordan Perry 8th, and just behind Jordan Perry, with a bit of a gap opening up, it's Jesse Woodyard. Jesse Woodyard running in 9th. To the left of your screen, Jordan Perry running in 8th. Jesse Woodyard coming into view now. The top 10 completed by Colin Daly. There's Colin Daly just approaching the turn on the left. He's under pressure. He's under pressure from Alex Hornberg and Parker McKean. So Dalton Sargent continuing to lead the race, but here is Jordan Perry, who we're featuring at the start of lap 8. Can Jordan reward us for our loyalty to him? He's only less than half a second behind the 5th place driver, so he could soon make that up if he got the run. But as you can see, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th going through your screen now. On the back straight, 5th in the white helmet is Gavin Reichart. 6th is Sebastian Coulson. 7th is Michael Ilavia. 8th is Jordan Perry. 9th, Jesse Woodyard, who's just out of view at present. That is Jordan Perry. There is Jesse Woodyard coming in view. And Jordan Perry not able to make any further progress forward. We're on lap 8 of a 20-lap junior final sponsored by Tony Kart West. The class, not the final, is sponsored by Tony Kart West. Our overall presenting sponsor, OGP, Ocala Grand Prix. We've been talking with George Oriana. You've been listening to him earlier today. And is that a move? Yes, it is. And as I'm just taking my eye off the ball momentarily, and Jordan Perry goes out on a clatter. Well, he doesn't go out in the sense he's out of the race, but a lot of that hard work was ruined there. I think that, let me see, in front of him, Gavin Reichelt, Sebastian Coulson, Michael Ilavia. I think Jesse Woodyard has gone past Jordan Perry. He'll be hard pushed to retain a place in the top 10 after that coming together. Well, we focused on Jordan Perry, hoping to see some forward progress. What we saw, unfortunately, was a little bit of a clatter, but he battles on. That was on lap 9. Well, let's just take stock as the leaders come round. Dalton Sargent sets off on lap 10 in the lead. Jake Craig is in second place, Logan Bairden third, Brennan Harrington fourth, Sebastian Coulson fifth, Michael Elavia sixth, Gavin Reichelt 7, Colin Daly Jr. up to 8th, Alex Hornberg 9th, and Jordan Perry 10th. So Jesse Woodyard was also involved, I think, in that little bit of coming together, because he's dropped out of the top 10 to 11th. Good drive by Dor Chaponic. Dor Chaponic, who was on the very last row, has driven himself up to 12th in 9 laps. So from 33rd to 12th, the drive by Kart 79, Dor Chaponic. He's knocking on the door of the top 10. Oliver Askew, who went out on the opening lap, the first turn of the first lap, is up to 17th place before we reach halfway. Well, I don't know if Mama Askew in Sweden is still tuned in, but if you are, Mum, well, he's doing well. Your boy's doing you proud in 17th place. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Some great driving. AJ Myers, incidentally, up to 23rd place after those problems on the first turn of the first lap. It seems even worse, doesn't it, when I say it like that? We're at the halfway stage, and Dalton Sargent and Jake Craig now trading places at the halfway point. Dalton Sargent Kart 80 and Jake Craig, let me see, it's the yes, this is the 11th lap, thought I was calling it correctly, for the start of the second half of the race. Logan Bairden and Jake Craig were the guys pursuing Dalton Sargent. Logan Baird in third, Bren Harrington in fourth, I think. Well, just slightly lost my disorientation, and it wasn't Dalton Sargent trading places, it was, let me see, Jake Craig is still second, Logan Baird and Bren Harrington. No, it wasn't a trading place, it was simply the half race distance. Dalton Sargent's lead 2.8 seconds, Jake Craig second, Logan Bairden third, Brendan Harrington fourth, and they're not too close just at the moment. Well, in shot, kart number 80 is Dalton Sargent. Dalton Sargent, who's been a regular front-running driver in this competition, driving a Tony Kart, the event sponsored by Tony Kart West. 13 years of age, Dalton Sargent from Boca Raton, Florida. Occupation, schoolboy and race car driver. How long karting? 4 years. So at 13 years of age, Dalton Sargent wasn't an early starter in karting. He sets off on lap 13. Best results of his career, he was the Minimax CKI champion in the Winter Series 2010. Sponsor, RDD Motorsports. You want to get a good sponsor? You can't go far wrong with RDD Motorsports. Racing Driver Development, RDD. And boy, is Dalton Sargent developing. Have to say, we like to talk up our racing, but these downfield pictures you're seeing, although I can't identify the drivers and the positions, this is the closest racing, because the top half dozen drivers are ever so well spread. Jordan Perry, incidentally, having had that little issue a little while back, has worked himself back up into 7th place, just in front of Colin Daly Jr. 8th. But that is Dalton Sargent. There in the background is the major facility feature of the admin buildings here at the Miller Motorsports Park. You may have heard Nigel Edwards in his interview say how impressed he was. Well, I'll give you another Englishman who's mightily impressed with the Miller Motorsports Park, and it's me. Miller Motorsports Park, Utah. Glad I got the invite to come here. It's a place worth being. This dice that we're watching is Oliver Askew into the top 10. Dor Chaponic into the top 10 at 9. Oliver Askew was shoveled to the back. Perhaps that's a bit unkind to say. Dor Chaponic started at the back. But you know, the cream rises to the surface. You can't keep a good man down. Whatever cliche you want to use, Oliver Askew has driven into the top 10. Dor Chaponic has driven into 9th place. Colin Daly Jr. 8, Jordan Perry 7, Michael Ilavia 6. Good drive from Michael. Sebastian Coulson 5th, Bren Harrington 4th, Logan Bairden 3rd, Jake Craig 2nd, and by a margin of over 4 seconds, our race leader, Dalton Sargent. Jordan Perry just going by on the start-finish line now. This is Dorche Ponick, I do believe, kart number 79 in 10th place. Well, we're on lap 15, so we're approaching the three-quarter race distance. It's Dalton Sargent's championship to lose from here. You know what I mean by that? He's really hard to see where 4 seconds could go in 5.5 laps. It shouldn't happen. So if he can keep his racing driving clean and on track, we're going to have a real battle by any of the following pack. There's kart 79, Dorche Ponick, just tracking, I think that's 38, Oliver Askew. Oliver Askew has traded places, therefore, with Dorche Ponick. And the driver with the strong Swedish connection, really have to say, is drove a stunner, even if he's not going to be the champion. Drives an OGP Tony kart, is 14 years of age, driving out of West Palm Beach, Florida, but mum in Sweden and his Swedish connections. Occupation at 14 years of age, I'm a race car driver. How long karting? 7 years. Want to say thank you to mechanic Mike Marini. Double race winner at the OGP Florida Winter Tour. Second in the 2010 FWT Series. Sponsored by my dad Tony and by Ocala Grand Prix. We're probably not talking about the champion, but we're talking about a guy who's come from 34th and starting in the gravel on turn 1 up into 8th place. This again is kart number 79, Dorche Ponick, I do believe. Oliver Askew up into 8th place. That's what we're looking at. Oliver Askew 8th, just going past Jordan Perry, I think. So Oliver Askew now going 7th from Jordan Perry, excuse me. Oliver Askew, who we were talking about, is the guy just going round the corner now, tracked by Jordan Perry in that green helmet. Another guy that we give him plaudits to. He was in the LCQ yesterday, and well, what a miserable time it was up until then. But Oliver Askew pulling away a little bit. Oliver Askew's last lap time was 59.5. Other than Dalton Sargent at 59.2, Oliver Askew is going quicker than anybody else on the circuit. Oliver Askew did a fast lap on lap 11, but incidentally, Dalton Sargent's quick lap, 59.2, was on that previous lap. So the race leader, with a margin of 5 seconds, says to himself, what do I need to do to win this one? I need to go quicker. I will go quicker. 59.20 was his lap 16 fastest lap time of the field. We're deeper into the race now. We're on lap 18 of a 20-lap junior final. Our flag marshal getting the white flag and the checkered flag together. They will be shown on that rolled, unfurled, double movement motion. We don't do that in England. We don't do it anywhere in Britain. We don't do it in mainland Europe. We should. It's a great piece of karting, shall we say, facilitation. It's an opportunity for drivers to know clearly 2 to go. We just stick a board out saying last lap when last lap comes. But here's Dalton Sargent starting off with 2 to go. 2 to go. Dalton Sargent tracking in front of Jake Craig. Dalton Sargent, a student and race car driver. You saw there that rocking motion of the 2 flags. Very, very familiar to you all in North America. Not at all familiar to us in Europe. We should copy you on that. You have so many things you could teach us in European karting. I say again, the crossed flags by the flag marshal at the halfway stage, it's worth that message. It really is. Well, not too close the racing at the front until you get to Logan Bairden and Brennan Harrington. They've got nearly a full second between them, so that's not as close as it might be. Last lap then, last lap, 1 to go. You're watching Dalton Sargent. At the risk of putting the commentator's curse on him, are you watching the 2011 Junior Champion of the United States of America? Dalton Sargent, once again, from Boca Raton in Florida. He drives a Tony Kart. He's 13 years old, only karting for 4 years, so not an early starter. The 2010 Minimax CKI champion is his best ever result. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to rewrite his CV. Best result so far, CKI champion. How about the national champion in Rotax Junior? Well, I've said what's merited. Desperately now wanting to not have any kind of ugly misfortune. Coming down now, there's the checkered flags, and there's your champion, Dalton Sargent. He's won many races, but this one's the biggie. That was the one he wanted. Great drive by Dalton Sargent, even if we didn't get a good close dice at the front.